Hello to you all and welcome to IMPROVATE's and SpaceCom's Communication Africa 2021 conference. IMPROVATE is a platform for creating long-lasting connections, enabling change-makers in technology and decision-makers in government. To make progress through innovation, IMPROVATE is all about finding solutions and sparking collaborations that improve the quality of life for people around the world. SpaceCom is an international communication service provider and the owners of the Amos satellite fleet. SpaceCom's most recent satellite, the Amos 17, is the most advanced satellite available now for Africa. Today we'll be discussing the opportunities for development in African nations and dive into new technologies and satellite-based communication solutions, aiming to enable governments to extend their service reach, drive growth, and advance the African nations in all aspects of life. Joining us today from the United Kingdom is our keynote speaker, Tony Blair. He served as United Kingdom Prime Minister from 1997 until 2007, and today is the founder and chair of the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change. Also with us today here in the studio in Tel Aviv is Mrs. Irina Nevzlin, IMPROVATE founder and chair, and our partner in this conference, Mr. Dan Zaitchik, SpaceCom CEO, former Israeli Minister of Communication, Mr. Yoaz Hendel, and Jabdi Massima, Tanzanian ambassador to Israel. Also in this broadcast is Aviv Ronai, VP of Marketing and Product at Novelsat, Ari Snai, Head of International Finance from Bank Leumi, and Mr. Yariv Cohen, CEO of Ignite Power. As always, watching along with us are representatives of investment funds from around the world who are looking to invest in Israeli innovation. Today, more than ever, always-on, high-quality communications are a fundamental requirement for any modern society and economy. Satellite communication enables a wide range of government services like border supervision, post services, and ID issuing through vital services like education, health, employment, and security. When it comes to the deployment of communication infrastructure that connects all areas, urban and rural, to the economic and social centers of the country, satellite stands out as the most reliable enabling infrastructure, and today also as a very cost-effective one. SpaceCom is an international communication service provider that specializes in satellite communication and the proprietary owner and operator of the known Amos satellite fleet. Its recent addition, the Amos 17, is an advanced, fully digital and high-throughput satellite designed specifically for Africa's unique and growing needs. Operating since 1992, the company has built a strong standing as an innovator in its field and serves as a service to partner its customers, providing satellite connectivity services, managed services, professional services, and turnkey solution. Let's take a look.
Like breathing, connectivity is a basic human need. That's exactly why the UN has declared internet connection a basic human right. Especially in times like these, connection is what makes us grow. It gives us meaning and lets us be a part of something bigger than ourselves, part of a nation. SpaceCom is proud to be a part of the effort to empower African nations to connect, and very proud to present Digital Community Platform, or DCP, a practical and sustainable solution to your country's digital transformation plans, including remote and less accessible regions. Combining connectivity, Wi-Fi, local cloud, content, and OTT in a simple and innovative way. Using SpaceCom's brand new and advanced satellite, Amos 17, specifically designed for Africa's needs, DCP provides a turnkey solution which enables a complete arsenal of services. Government services, health, education, commerce and payments, agriculture, and of course, home use and entertainment. DCP, Digital Community Platform. Scalable, sustainable, flexible. Available now for rapid deployment.
All right, let's say hello again to Dan Zaitchik, the CEO of SpaceCom. Hey, Dan, thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Lorraine.
So SpaceCom is well known for being professionally practical and innovative. Can you please share with us a revolutionary service SpaceCom is already rolling out in Africa?
For us in Spacecom, we understood, as also was mentioned by Mr. Tony Blair, that the challenge is the lack of infrastructure, terrestrial infrastructure in the continent. We see the satellite that we are providing as an enabler for services that are provided, and one of the most exciting things that we already done is putting a clinic in Mozambique that is connected via satellite connectivity using a full suite of medical services that are very unique and now newly developed. And all of these services are connected via solar power, so it's really isolated and off-grid and can be easily deployed in the unconnected territories.
Dan, I'd like you to address the challenges and opportunities Africa is now facing, as we just heard from Tony Blair, and how satellite communication can meet these challenges.
So I think that the three major challenges that we have is first is the terrestrial network, that there is a lack of terrestrial network. Africa is a very big continent, and we don't see a connectivity in remote places. We see a very good connectivity in the major cities and in the urban places, but in the semi-urban and the rural places, there is a lack of communication. It's not connected to the grid, as mentioned before, so we see that there is no electricity. And I think that one of the biggest challenges is also finance. And the opportunities that we see there is, first of all, the young population and the ability to adopt new technologies. We see that in Africa, a lot of new technologies are being adopted much faster than in the West, and we see that this puts a very good opportunity moving forward. I think that together, where we come from Israel, so all the technology that we have and all the high tech, now we have much better medical solution and e-learning solution that are being more optimized for the electricity side and also from the communication side. And this enables us to perform or to introduce those services in Africa based on the satellite that we have.
Can you give us your view and maybe some concrete examples?
So for me, as I mentioned, I mean, first of all, we have the clinic that we have in Mozambique. I think it's a great example of combining all these three elements, the communication together with the solar power and the high-tech technology, introducing the medical e-health and telemedicine in those places. In addition, we are also cooperating with the e-learning. I think that e-learning is very important, especially in remote locations. It enables you to interact with remote location and introducing in educational infrastructure to places that didn't enjoy this infrastructure before.
Great, thank you so much for that, Dan. Now I'd like to invite you to present to us the new digital community platform, the DCP, and generally what Spacecom is all about.
Thank you, Lorraine. I'm very excited to be here today. It's a great honor to bring so many respectable people together. My name is Dan Zajcek, and for me, this occasion is a dream come true. After 20 years in the communication sector and 10 years working with Africa, I took over the position of Spacecom CEO last year, and finally have the opportunity to introduce a game-changing concept in Africa. A game-changing concept that I believe will create significant impact. We call it DCP, Digital Community Platform. As you all know, we live in a connected world, and communication is important than ever. It enables everything. It enables education, it enables proper healthcare services, government services, and also agriculture. Communication is so important that the UN declared as a basic human right, just like food and water. Especially now, in COVID-19 era, communication is the way to do business. Communication is the way to learn and to receive medical attention. It is the only way to deal with social isolation, to connect the rural to the urban, for the governments to commute to their nation. As the UN said, the pandemic is a wake-up call for all of us. I experienced Africa for more than a decade, and now I can safely say Africa is in the best position for the next giant leap. With a young population willing to adopt new technologies, together with a dedicated satellite beam that can cover the entire country, Africa is ready to connect all the rural areas, even those in limited infrastructure in remote regions. It's inspiring to see how Africa has evolved so much in recent years. And now, it is the right time for Africa to take the next step into digital transformation. Through satellite, it is possible to tackle many connectivity challenges with a fast and cost-effective deployment. And here is where Spacecom comes in. Spacecom has a fleet of 4 satellites in orbit and more than 30 years' experience providing communication services. Among our clients are governments and global enterprises around the world. We are partnered with the UN, and we offer turnkey solutions for mobile backhaul services and Wi-Fi access. Recently, we have launched our newest satellite, Amos 17, one of the most advanced satellites in the world, designed especially for Africa. Amos 17 has joined our fleet of satellites, providing global coverage and communication infrastructure to our partners. Using the unique capabilities of Amos 17, we offer you NationSat. NationSat is much more than just satellite capacity. It's a dedicated national communication infrastructure exclusive to your country with a national coverage. NationSat enables you to enjoy our new platform, DCP, the Digital Community Platform, which includes applications for governments, health, education, commerce, agriculture, and home entertainment. Now, let's zoom in and see the impact of the application available through the DCP. In the field of government services, the local government portal includes everything that the government needs in order to govern, from national population registry to homeland security, border control, and much more. And this is just about government services. While using DCP, you can introduce the world's best educational methods to your students and teachers. DCP allows you to provide a high-quality educational infrastructure in urban and remote locations, online and offline. And what is the most exciting thing about this? You can leverage the best educators and extend their reach, allowing for educational equality nationwide. So we talk about government services, education services, and now, as I said, the DCP has a wide variety of services, including agriculture. Whether it's vital information for the farmers, online training, or even big national program which can create impact and improve the national export and produce. Of course, the DCP also provides the ability to sell and buy online, carry out financial services, and enables online payments. Through Wi-Fi and backhaul connectivity, the DCP provides home use and entertainment services like OTT and television. Now, I would like to share with you something that really makes me proud: the ability to actually impact and improve people's life. Look at the picture. It's from our connected medical clinic that we have established in Mozambique, making crucial medical services accessible right now. We can already offer a full suite of medical services in any location with fast deployment, from a mobile emergency clinic to remote expert consultation, laboratory services, and diagnostics such as ultrasound, ECG, and X-ray. Summing it all up, DCP is scalable, sustainable, and flexible. How flexible? You can pick and choose any application in any location, according to your needs and requirements, with the ability to change services along the way. And you know what? The best part about it, it's not just a vision, it's a reality. I invite you all to join our DCP program today. Thank you very much for your time. It's a pleasure to be part of this important event.
Thank you so much, Dan, and please come have a seat with us. Okay, let's welcome Mali's Minister of Communication, Mr. Hamadoun Touré. Hello, so great to have you with us today.
Yes, great to join you. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Now, strong and stable communication is a key factor in improving government services in health, education, homeland security, basically in everything. 5 years from now, how do you see Mali's development and what role does communication take in building its future?
First of all, let me thank you for inviting me to join IMPROVATE, and let me congratulate IMPROVATE and also thank Tony Blair for making the opening remarks. I've met Tony, of course, in many occasions in my former capacity as Secretary General of the International Telecommunication Union. And I would like to really thank him for his leadership. I'm also a satellite engineer by background, so I was very pleased to see the presentation by Dan. And as you know, I have spent most of my career in the satellite industry, working in Intelsat in Washington, D.C. first. And at the time, I was actually ended up being the group director for Africa and Middle East, so I was covering Israel as well. I would like to also let you know that I was a member of the board of Inmarsat until my appointment as Minister of Communication and Information and Digital Technology in Mali. So I'm very pleased and very knowledgeable of the challenges that the ICT industry is facing. And I should say that Africa is today ready for business in this field. Having witnessed that as Secretary General of ITU, the missing piece was the legal and regulatory framework, which is totally harmonized today in Africa. Some of the greatest things we want to put in place are the infrastructure, the content development of applications and services, and also, of course, also capacity building and education. Those are the key pillars of our development program. And Africa is working on all those areas in many countries today. Last but not least, the financing and the solution, the locally grown solutions are some of the things that we are looking at. And I believe that having been in this industry for over 40 years now, I believe that if you have good projects, you have financing for it. And there are very many bright ideas in this field. You need no longer to convince the users for it. Having joined the government, I realized how much I didn't need to convince the Minister of Agriculture. He's the one who came to me and said, look here, I need to put e-applications in everything I want to do in agriculture and other fields in his area. The Minister of Education and Higher Education, we are working together. From day one, we started working together on making sure that exams are well prepared, well protected, and there is full transparency on it. And we are now putting together a program in which we are trying to embed new fields in the curriculum, because we know if you don't put things like artificial intelligence, coding, and virtual presence and virtual reality, you don't put those in your education program today, the children will be illiterate tomorrow. So we're working together on all those fields. Of course, some of the greatest challenges are how do you prioritize in a country where there is security concerns, there are hunger problems, there are education problems, there are health issues, of course, in the middle of a COVID pandemic. Mm-hmm. We want to make sure that people use this tool and don't put it in the back burner. So, and I can tell you that having been in this government of transition in Mali, which is have a very specific goal of just organizing in the next 18 months a free and a fair elections, I've been tasked to actually develop a 10-year plan to 2030 ICT development plan that we're putting together. That is very ambitious, I can tell you.
Okay, Mr. Toure, thank you so much for your input today.
Thank you.
Okay, let's say hello to former Israeli Minister of Communication and member of Knesset, Yoaz Handel. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Lauren. I'm happy to be here.
So as the former communication minister of Israel, how do you explain the fact that Israel, which is such a small country, has such advanced space and satellite communication services?
First of all, I think that Israelis are motivated by kind of a biblical prophecy to share the light in many aspects, and part of it is how to connect people. Now, I'm a politician, and now we are in the middle of a political campaign, and this is a business of separating people. Communications infrastructure is how to connect people. And this is, I think, part of the idea behind the tools, behind the satellites, behind the fibers. And when you check what Israel is facing and what we have done here in the last a few years, we can see how Israel use communications infrastructure to grow and to increase our economic situation. We can check the numbers. We're talking about GDP of 1.1, which means about 13 billion shekels. We are talking about a growth in increasing of labor circle, and on and on. And even though that Israel is such an advanced country, we still have places like in the desert, in the Negev, which we have our limitations in connecting people. It's more hard to connect people with fibers in the desert. And then you have other options. One of them, and I think the best one, is use satellite. And so if one wants to understand why everything is developing here, it's because we have so many challenges, and we have to find solutions, and solutions to the desert, solution to the north, and solution to other parts of the world. And Africa, our friends in Africa, I think, enjoying part of the ideas that grew here.
So with that said, what is your view when it comes to the importance of satellite communication for the fulfillment of government projects and the impact it has on government initiatives in general?
So in general, communications infrastructure, including satellites, are part of the ability to give people in the world, in everywhere, first of all, opportunity to learn, to work, to have health treatment from distance. Now, when you check high-speed internet, for example, which is only one aspect of this issue, can bring people to better places, can connect someone from the Galilee to the Silicon Valley, and connect someone from Mali or from Zanzibar to Washington or to Vienna. And I think it's not only changing the world, it's changing our perspective on globalization, on opportunities, and on limitations. And the government has a role to encourage this development.
All right, Yoaz Hendel, thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate it. Now I want to introduce Mr. Adok Gai, Director General of the National Communication Authority from the Republic of South Sudan. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you very much.
So only...
I would like to take this...
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to take the opportunity to thank the Space Comms and the organizers of this event for giving us the opportunity to attend. Thank you, Madam.
Of course. Now, only recently the country has been successful in overcoming many of its challenges, and it seems like you are on the fast track of development. Yet, so many challenges are still ahead. South Sudan is a landlocked country. How does it affect your overall communication strategy?
Generally, as a landlocked country with no infrastructure in place of any kind, and having emerged from a very long civil war, I think South Sudan is a classical case of what a satellite technology can be truly utilized to leapfrog connectivity. As a new member state in this sector, and having to have with no legacy technology from past communications, we do occupy the unique space as a country. And therefore, as part of our communication policies, we actually prioritize connectivity as an important factor for our people in order to leapfrog and catch the rest of the world where they are. Remember, we only got independent in 2011, and with no any form of communication and infrastructure. So as such, South Sudan see this opportunity presented by Spacecom as a new beginning and could really fast track our initiative that we are already online with it. We would like, of course, to do this in partnership. As part of our effort, we actually filed and have received approval from ITU for a satellite orbital for broadcasting and communication. Truly, with these challenges, we think that the initiative by IMPROVATE give us the route that we can take and fast track our plans for connecting our population in order to be part of the global community with all the benefit it presents from e-learning, connectivity, and the health in particular, as we have seen with the case of COVID. Until now, part of our country has not even heard about the news of the COVID yet. You can imagine the challenges we face. And if such a technology were to be truly rolled out in our region, we would actually give Spacecom a very positive ground where they can see the results and how it would impact the community. Thank you.
So with that said, how do you use communication to enable government services in remote communities in the country?
Certainly, we use communication by trying to do rural connectivity. And as a country recovering from war, basically we encourage very much also the use of communication for dissemination of peace information and for disarming the war veterans and for promoting peace and reconciliation. Remember, this is a country that has been at war sometime among communities who are actually disconnected. So we look at communication also as a facilitator for peace and promote commerce among people.
Right.
Earlier, I recall Honorable Tony Blair made a reference to how sometimes some people have no connection among themselves. Really, the case is in South Sudan, and Honorable Tony Blair has been very instrumental in the independence of South Sudan. He's somebody we are indebted to him, and we think he has actually spoken very much of all the challenges that are exhibited here. Thank you.
Mr. Guy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Let's move now to Tanzanian Ambassador to Israel, Job Masima. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So Tanzania is obviously an amazing country, not only because it's wonderful people, overwhelming wildlife, and the Kilimanjaro, the tallest mountain in Africa, but also because you've developed a unique approach regarding ICT regulation. Can you please share with us how these regulations, specifically in relation to cellular companies, convert reinvestment into connectivity and development of remote communities?
Thank you for having me in your majestic studio and very good program.
You're welcome
which I've been
anytime.
attending for a number of times.
Sure.
Coming to Tanzania, satellite communication is very important. But before going to your question, let me address 3 issues which I think the previous speakers haven't addressed them correctly. It's true that Africa, we are facing a problem of internet connectivity and more or less an unreliable net penetration. That is true. But there are 3 issues which I thought that they needed to be addressed. One is the cost of high cost of data and internet facilities is really a problem for Africa. With all those problems which you're talking about, now come to this issue. Can we afford those high costs of data and internet services? I think this company is high time to address that. That's one. But another problem which you're also facing is the online payments, issues of online payments such as trust. A number of people, including my people from my home country, have been complaining a lot because of this communication. Once you transact with those people who matters, you don't get the end results. Or the end result is different from what you got that one. So let's go with all the efforts we are doing. It's high time also to address this one. How are you going to tackle it? Because it's taking down the efforts which we are progressing. And the third issue, which I thought also they should look at it, is that of low technology adoption by the firms, that offices and the big firms in Africa. Not all, they are still traditional. So we are concentrating on individuals and letting these big firms not to adapt this satellite communication. So in addition to those which have been said before, I think we better also address to this. Now coming back to our question on satellite communication. In Tanzania, luckily, we do have 3 advantages, which you could say that is above the rest of some of the countries, and we use them accordingly. One is the geographical location we are having. Tanzania, we are having a coastal line of about 1,402 miles. So it's a gateway to 6 landlocked countries, including Sudan, which the minister was appointing here. So with the gateway, this to these 6 countries is not only on cargo. There's the fiber, whatever has come for that. So this one for us is a very big advantage. Another advantage which we are having for us as Tanzania is the size and the demography of it. As big as it is, Tanzania is more or less 43 times as big as Israel. Or you can say that Tanzania, the way it is, is bigger than is bigger than all of Kenya, Uganda, Burundi, and Rwanda combined. Wow. That to get to Tanzania. But our population is still very low. They have been pointing out that you could find that in rural areas, the population is scattered. So in Tanzania, if we could compare with Israel, our population density is 67 people per square kilometer, compared to Israel, which I think is around 400 per square kilometers. Now, with this one, it comes to the challenge of communication, because with this dense population, now how are you communicating then? This is really a challenge which we needed to address to that. It's an advantage, but it's also a challenge. So generally, what I can say about Tanzania is that once it comes to digital connection, slightly we are better off than the rest of our neighbors.
Wonderful. Mr. Ambassador, thank you so much for filling in the blanks for us today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Great.
All right, now we are joined by Mrs. Juanita Clark, CEO of Digital Council Africa. The Digital Council embraces the extraordinary possibilities that the digital era has for Africa. The Council believes that the digital economy will enhance the quality of life for African citizens and allow Africa to be extremely competitive in the global market. Mrs. Clark, first of all, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us today. You are working with the African government's policymakers, helping African countries define their digital strategies to safeguard their future status. You hold a very firm and practical approach regarding the combination of fiber and satellite networks. Do you find these two technologies to be competitive or complementary to one another?
Good morning, and thank you, Lauren. And well done on an excellent event. Thank you, IMPROVATE and Spacecom for the invitation. The whole conversation around the either or of technologies that we are always talking about, I think really stems from the consumer mindset, where we look at particular brands when it comes to consumer devices. But it's just simply the way that competition has panned out historically at consumer level, and how society has viewed technology. But when it comes to technological infrastructure, particularly pertaining to connectivity, that layer, there is no either or. We have to look at how they can complement each other. And for us to bridge this immense digital divide that Africa is facing, we need to consider all available technologies. And certainly, some of them will make more sense in certain geographical areas than others would. And, satellite in particular has an immense role to play in connecting rural communities to the digital economy.
Juanita, regarding African Tier 2 or Tier 3 cities, if it was up to you to decide, would you recommend getting them on a national satellite network as a first means to gain access?
Lauren, to answer that question, I think we have to, and I think, we've all got a bit of pandemic fatigue, but, you can't exclude the pandemic out of this conversation. So, we are viewing more and more people working from home. And one of the side effects of working from home is people's ability to relocate out of the major metros and, return to villages and smaller towns. And of course, this has got immense benefits for the cities. They curb urbanization. Cities are bursting at the seams globally. This is a problem, not just in Africa, but particularly in Africa as well. So, so if people can move out of the cities, and if we can take this immense burden off the large metros and in turn help the rejuvenation of smaller tier 2 and tier 3 towns, that would be a phenomenal success story. But, there's one critical thing that is required for people to move out of the cities and still remain a productive citizen, and that's access to connectivity. So for us, anything or any goods, connectivity solution would, make sense. And certainly, Africa's already fallen significantly behind in the connectivity race. And satellite, again, has got this immense role to play. I think Dan referenced it, when he spoke about rapid deployment. We can rapidly connect people in tier 2 and tier 3 towns. He's also referenced the fact that, we've got this very big youth, the youth population. 60% of the citizens in Africa are, below the age of 30. And people want to go to universities. And we're not keeping up pace with the building of universities. And, we're going to have a problem. 20 years from now, we are sitting with a massive educational problem. And e-learning is going to become increasingly important. And, we will not be able to send our children to physical environments anymore. So, satellite connectivity, certainly in the more rural areas in tier 2, tier 3 towns, is going to play an incredibly important role to provide services to the next generation and to people looking to work from home outside of urban areas.
Juanita, thank you so much for that. Before I say goodbye to you and let you go, I just want to turn to Dan over here for 1 second and see if he has any response to the comments you just made.
I totally agree with her. I think that the satellite is an enabler, and for us, the big challenge that we have and the DCP that we're introducing is putting the application over the infrastructure. Everybody talking about the connection and the infrastructure, but at the end of the day, we need to provide the solution that will enable all the technology and all the application and enable the education in remote location, the telemedicine in remote location. So I think that it's a complementary solution and it's a full suite of services together. And the focus should be on the application and implementation and not on the infrastructure itself.
Okay, thank you for that, Dan. And thank you so much, Juanita Clark, for joining us. So thank you all for being on this panel, demonstrating and highlighting a great vision and needs which depend on good communication throughout the country. Now, before we end this conference, I'd like to welcome again Dan Zaitchik, CEO of SpaceCom. Dan, thank you for returning to speak to us once again.
Thank you, Lorraine.
So CommuNication Africa 2021 was a very exciting event. Africa is ready to continue its advancements in the field of communication, and we all concluded today that it is the right timing and moment to introduce new innovative solutions. SpaceCom is enabling countries to take over the African opportunity with its advanced satellite and digital community platform, the DCP. As the CEO of the company, no doubt you are excited regarding the future. How would you like to conclude this day?
I think that we had an excellent day. I think that, as we saw, we covered 360 degrees with different stakeholders. We saw the government perspective, the regulators, the suppliers, and also the users themselves. We understand that the challenge across Africa is real and provides a huge opportunity for companies in the tech, in the communication, but the most important is to bring something that will be scalable for fast deployment to have the impact. And now it's accelerating due to the pandemic. So time to market is really an important issue. And for us, the solution that we introduced, the DCP, is covering this entire needs. And it's very flexible, it's very dedicated and very focused for the needs of the governments and for the nations and the people themselves. I think that it was a great day, and we are very excited to do this implementation and to have a real impact over the African community.
Great. Thank you, Dan, and thank you to all the guests on our panel today in studio and, of course, joining us from abroad on Zoom. That's it from IMPROVATE's and SpaceCom's CommuNication Africa 2021 conference. We've heard today from the Honorable Tony Blair, former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, distinguished ministers and ambassadors from Mali, South Sudan, Gabon, Libreville, Ghana, the Republic of Congo, Ethiopia, and Sierra Leone, and from our partners in this conference, SpaceCom. We also want to thank NationSat, Ignite, and Bank Leumi. IMPROVATE is all about access and connections, exposing Israeli tech leaders to governments and companies around the world to promote businesses whose goal is innovation. The exposure right here at this conference is a first step. The next step, delegations and real business connections. We want to thank you all for taking part and hope this is just the start of doing business together, making technology accessible to all and improving the lives of people across the world. Keep an eye out for IMPROVATE's next conference, CyberSec, presenting cutting-edge Israeli cyber technologies to the Gulf on February 11th. I'm Lauren Izzo. Thank you so much for joining us today. And that is all we have.